It all starts with darkness. Chen Li gets awoken by the sounds of merrymaking and the smell of something good. When he opens his eyes, he gets a blurry vision of a group of women dancing around a chunk of meat roasted over fire. Chen gets up, suddenly invigorated by what he sees. What man wouldn't want good food and women? He jumps, then he discovers he's tied up by ropes. A prompt screen suddenly appears in front of him. In it says, Main mission, survive. Goal, survive for 12 hours under primitive people's chase. Reward, attribute point ×1. Survival package ×1. Time remaining, 1 minute 20 secs. Chen looks at the group of women, who have now been replaced by big muscular men. Then he remembers what happened 12 hours ago. He also woke up on a desolate, strange island. He was thinking about accompanying a rich lady shopping, then he got sent to this unfamiliar place. He remembers the same men making odd sounds at him. Chen initially thought they were part of a survival television show, but when the men started throwing sharp bones at him, he realized they were serious about injuring him. A prompt screen appeared in front of him. It said the main mission, which is to survive, has been triggered, along with a countdown. A femur bone flew at him, hitting him hard on the neck. He lost consciousness and woke up 12 hours later. Another prompt appears showing that he completed the goal. He's been rewarded with +1 attribute point and a survival package. Since those men are not paying attention to him, Chen thinks it's best to know more about his situation. A prompt shows him his attributes: physique, strength, agility, prestige, technology, and land. He immediately understands that this is some kind of system or a game. He opens the survival package to know more. He finds out he's been given the novice rank specializing in all languages, as well as the survival booklet. His own map is now activated, where he can record the places he'll go to. He's also given the split mountain axe with a reminder that it can't be put into storage once taken out. It's like a whole chunk of data is being downloaded into his brain. He suddenly understands the language of the primitive men. He concludes that he's been sent to the primitive world, a time when societies are yet to be created. This must be a game in which the goal is to survive and create his own civilization. Knowing where he is now and what he has to do, Chen becomes determined. He adds the attribute point to his strength and takes out the axe. He easily frees himself from the rope, feeling the strength rewarded to him. The primitive men take notice of this. They immediately cry out for Chen's capture. With the goal of turning him into their evening meal, Chen bluffs at them, saying he is a god and that they disrespected him. The man who wears a bone helmet and leather straps must be the leader, because he gets angry at what Chen said and threatens to hit him with his bone stick. Will Chen be able to survive? A prompt with a new mission appears in front of Chen. He has to deter the primitive people and subdue them to be their leader. He'll get another attribute point if he completes this, but he'll lose his axe if he doesn't. Chen knows that without a weapon in this era, he's as good as dead. The leader hits him with his bone, and Chen defends with his axe. They both come to a standstill. The leader is obviously strong, but Chen won't easily give in. Another thing is that the bone stick hit the blade of the axe, and so Chen pushes through, managing to cut off the tip of the bone stick. When he realizes his weapon is destroyed, the leader cries like a sore loser. He commands his men to attack Chen. He has no choice but to run. One of them catches up to him. Just before he can hit him, Chen parries his stick with his axe. He then tells the primitive people to not piss him off and move back, or he'll go overboard. But in truth, he's just bluffing. There's no way he can take on all of them if they charge at him at the same time. It looks like his warning worked, but they all run away as if suddenly scared of him. Chen wonders why when a prompt appears with a side mission. He has to chase the saber-tooth away. If he succeeds, he'll earn 2 attribute points and the primitive people's favorability. It's a mission that's automatically accepted and can't be rejected. Saber-tooth? Where? Chen asks. And that's when he hears the growl behind him. The huge feline is ready to jump at him. Chen runs away, still disbelieving that he's facing a real, live saber-tooth. The animal viciously claws at him, and he only manages to dodge in a split second. At one point, the claws get him, sending him to the ground. How can he chase away such a gigantic cat? One bite from it, and he'll be in halves. Chen has to think of a way. He notices the smoke rising from the distance. He suddenly remembers the lamb meat being roasted earlier. He decides to lure the saber-tooth there, and then chase it away with fire. He turns to the feline and waits for his chance when the animal jumps. Once it does, he slides underneath it. But the saber-tooth just body presses him to the ground. His ribs may not be the same after that, but Chen continues to run, dodging the claws here and there. After a few jumps and forward rolls, he finally reaches the bonfire. He pulls a burning stick and pokes it into the cat's eye. The saber-tooth is disoriented. Chen holds both his axe and the burning stick, preparing to fend off the incoming attack. Just then, a loud rumbling coming from the forest stops both of them. The roars from the unidentified beast continue, scaring even the saber-tooth. It looks like it's already forgotten about Chen. Without ado, it runs away, leaving Chen confused. A prompt tells him that he's successfully completed the side mission. He earns 2 attribute points and the favorability of the primitive people. The roars continue, which make Chen think whatever animal it is coming closer. He decides to distribute his points to strength and agility, and then runs back to the people. Along the way, he shows off his newly gained attributes, like he's on an obstacle course. He finally finds the group of primitive people hiding in a shallow trench. The leader and the others are shocked to find Chen still alive, and well after his face-off with the large feline. Chen scoffs, boasting that a mere saber-tooth is just a kitten in his eyes. He says he defeated it, and it ran away. The primitive people are still looking blankly at him while Chen waits for their adoration. As the primitive people celebrate Chen as their newly appointed king, he receives another main mission from the prompt. This time, it's about settlement. His goal is to assist the primitive people in building their home, establishing their tribe, and expanding the population to 50. Since the mission is triggered in advance, Chen will get 18 days to do it instead of 15. If he succeeds, he'll receive 3 attribute points, a large-scale resource chest, and a heritage plaque. Chen counts the people in the group. There are 15 members at present. Since he's only given 18 days, the best way to expand the population is by assimilating other tribes with them. With that plan in his mind, Chen decides to call it a day. And so, after an exciting day, everyone just lies down on the ground and falls asleep. But Chen can't sleep because his stomach growls. His hunger is only catching up to him after all of his adventures. He remembers the roasted lamb left in the forest, as well as that unknown beast that interrupted his fight with the saber-tooth. A part of him is afraid to go back because he may encounter the beast, but overthinking will do him no good. And so, retreating his axe, he goes back to where the food is. Thankfully, it hasn't been touched or anything. And there are additional meats too. Now that he's considered the king of those primitive people, he can't just think about himself anymore. He needs to think about their welfare too. He takes all the meat and then goes back to their camp. On his way, he slips into a shallow, flat hole. Chen wonders what that hole is doing there and how the moon is shining brightly there when the place is thickly covered by trees. When he looks around, he realizes it's not an ordinary hole, but an animal footprint the size of a mini jacuzzi. Chen should have known sooner. If a saber-tooth is alive in this era, then dinosaurs also exist. This is not just a primitive era, but a point in time when deadly animals were still alive. That makes his mission more important than ever. As the king, he needs to find a good and safe settlement for his tribe. Once the sun rises, Chen distributes the food to everyone. Again, he witnesses their savagery as they fight for food. They don't have concepts of modesty or sharing, which will make it a hard task to teach them. Chen tells everyone that those who'll hunt for that day will be prioritized when it comes to food. When he asks who'll come and hunt with him, the leader explains that they take turns hunting. But almost everyone wants to go with Chen because they admire him. Eventually, he decides to allow anyone who wants to follow him to come along. He says that he needs to find a place to build their home. The largest woman in the tribe, Chen calls her Big Big, asks what home is. Chen explains that home is a safe place where one can live with their people. It's where nourishment and security are provided for the members of a family. Big Big gets excited but misunderstands Chen's explanation. She thinks he wants her to bear his children, which is the least of Chen's current priorities. The previous leader, Chen calls him Stone Bone, asks where they should build their home. With that, Chen asks everyone to gather around so he can explain fully. He sits on the ground, and using a twig, he draws diagrams of how their home should be built. It's like a small community nestled near the mountains and river. That way, they can have a water source for drinking and irrigation, as well as a wood source for their houses and other needs. It will also be ideal for their protection at night. Chen continues to explain, even though his listeners don't understand what he's trying to describe. Suddenly, a meek voice offers him knowledge, as he knows a place that fits Chen's descriptions. That boy is the same one who threw the first stick at Chen during his first arrival on that island. Chen noticed earlier that he seems shy around him, and it may be because he's feeling guilty for hunting him. so Chen calls him Seeker and gives him the opportunity to speak up. Seeker says there's a place like what Chen described located in the east, but it's dangerous to go there because of a herd of cows that shouldn't be messed with. Chen is confused. Cows are a good source of meat and milk. There's nothing to be afraid of, so they should hunt them. With his mind focused on the goal, he announces to his tribe that they will go east to build their new home. The environment looks calm and clear. A goofy chicken head pops out of the bushes to report the status to Chen. But it's just a disguise worn by Seeker. He says they can set off soon once the area is safe. Chen still doesn't get what makes Seeker nervous. He reminds them that he has chased the saber-tooth away. If it comes back, he'll protect them. Seeker agrees even though he's still tense. They walk a little further upwards until they can see what's on the other side. It is a large grassland area with forests dotting the sides. A river runs through the middle, and on the far side, large rock formations block what's beyond. Chen can smell the sea, so he's sure it's nearby. He checks his map for confirmation. Indeed, the place is an ideal location for their first settlement. Suddenly, Seeker grabs him, warning him of the presence of the herd of cows. Chen relents. He checks his survival manual and discovers that there are 3 types of plants and 2 types of animals close by. There's the green sunflower grass, which can be used to relieve stomach pain, a dragon vine that contains mild toxins that can numb and paralyze, and the big sabaki tree that can provide good quality wood for house building. Gray squirrels are prevalent there, a good source of delicious meat, and pincer wasps whose stings can become fatal. Chen doesn't see a herd of cows, so he asks Seeker where they are. Seeker points to the area and volunteers to lead the group there. 30 minutes later, they are under the cover of trees and bushes. This time, Seeker strongly warns them not to go any further or else they'll be discovered. Chen is so confused. It's all quiet there. Why should they be scared of a bunch of cows? He wonders if Seeker remembered wrongly. Just then, a large black tree moves. When Chen looks up, he realizes how wrong he is about those cows. To be fair to Seeker, he may not know how to describe them, or that the right term for those cows is freaking giant minotaurs with glowing blue markings. Even their moos sound terrifying. Chen's database updates, now including the name of those monsters. They're called iron-horn black cows. They're mainly herbivorous and have a strong sense of territory. Chen regrets saying they should hunt those cows. But how could he have known that they're dealing with beasts? He has no choice but to stand by his words, especially now that his tribe is looking up to him. He sneaks closer to the cows, who had no idea about his presence. Chen is terrified. Just one of its arms is thicker than his body, and it's rude to interrupt an eating cow. Then he spots the smallest one, which is still bigger than him. He decides to be polite first. He greets it and asks about the yummy grass. Without warning, the cow shrieks, its markings changing from blue to red. Now all the cows spot him, and they all start chasing him. Chen cries out as he sprints away. The cows are persistent, even crossing the river just to get him. Chen continues to run towards the large rock formations. Meanwhile, his tribe men are in awe. They marvel at how daring their king is for provoking the entire herd. They see Chen starting to climb the rock wall. Chen uses his attributes to maintain his distance. To his surprise, the cows all crash at the bottom of the wall. It seems that they can't stop in time and let themselves hit the rocks. Still, their markings are unchanged, meaning they are waiting for him to come down. Chen realizes this too. To utilize his time, he decides to climb further to see what's on the other side. It's the equivalent of paradise. Lush greens carpet the ground, and the sea sparkles under the bright sun. This is the perfect place for Chen to build not just his tribe, not a small community either, but his empire. Looking at the possibilities, his journey has just begun. Stonebone, Seeker, and the others try to look for their king. They think he may have been trampled by those bulls. Stonebone takes this chance to look for the king's divine axe weapon. But before his feet can touch the ground, that very weapon comes flying and smashing just beside him. Chen is still alive. Their king seems unharmed by his escapade with those cows. Chen tells his tribe that he wants to eat those cows' meat, by hook or by crook. To do that, he needs to teach his men how to make weapons. Then they'll come back to hunt those cows. They return to their camp, and soon Chen demonstrates how to create a weapon called a spear. It's a long wooden pole with one end sharpened to a point. After showing it to his men, his prompt shows up, telling him that creating the spear counts for a point for the technology attribute. Chen learns that he can also earn points that way, aside from the missions given by the system. He shows his men that a spear can be used to stab or throw into a target. Stonebone and others are amazed at this innovation. He says they've always picked sticks of wood in the past, but they never thought about sharpening it or throwing it that way. Stonebone and others just became huge fanboys of Chen. Chen gives the first spears Stonebone. Then he informs everyone that they will be training on using them after making enough for everyone. After a few hours, they take their spears and start their sparring. Chen observes that the men have brute strength but have no techniques. To tackle this issue, he tells two of them to come at him. After a few swipes, he takes down one of them. To the remaining one, Chen says they should fight to the end. After a quick maneuver, Chen defeats him. He then explains that a spear's advantage is its pointy end, which should be aimed at the enemy or the prey. They rely too much on their strength. It's time for them to learn basic techniques. Next, he instructs them to throw their spears at a stone target. Whoever hits the center will be given one extra spear. Stonebone goes first. As usual, his power makes the wooden spear go through stone, but Chen tells him he should work on his accuracy. Next to try is Seeker, who throws the spear just an inch near Chen's foot. He wonders if Seeker's accuracy is always aimed at him. The other men also try. Even though they manage to break through the stone, no one can hit the center, until a lone spear flies past Chen, and it hits the center perfectly. He looks around and sees that Stick, one of the boys around the age of Seeker, is the one who threw the spear. As promised, Chen gives him 2 spears for his accuracy. Just then, Big Big, who is on top of the trees and acts as their lookout, warns them about a beast heading their way. Chen instructs the men to grab their spears and get ready to fight. He thinks this will be a good opportunity to test what they have learned and gain practical experience in hunting. The stomping grows near, and what emerges from the trees is a huge boar ready to charge at them. Chen gets excited. He turns into a formidable warrior and tells everyone this boar will be their dinner for that night. The boar stomps and roars menacingly at them. Chen commands his men to circle around the boar as he tries to get all its attention. The boar sees him and charges at him. Chen manages to stop its charge and decrease its speed. Then he shouts at Stick and Black Boar to throw their spears at it. The boar's coat is thick, but their spears have pierced through it, causing immense pain. The animal shakes Chen off, then turns its attention to Stick, but the little guy is ready for him. He throws his second spear and hits the boar's eye. Stonebone and the others follow this feat. Soon, the boar stumbles, with multiple spears poking out from its body. The boar charges at Chen again. He evades. Seeker, who is hiding on top of that tree, takes his opportunity to spear the animal's head. However, the boar goes berserk, dangling the helpless Seeker on its head. Chen takes this chance to give the final blow. In one great slash, he decapitates the boar's head. Everyone celebrates this victory. Chen feels proud that the men have done really well. He announces that they will all share a hearty meal for that night. To Seeker, he says he did exceptionally well. And to Stick, he calls him the MVP. From now on, he can join in their hunts, and he'll forge new weapons for him. Later, the boar's meat is distributed. Big Big brings Chen a big slab of raw meat. She expects him to enjoy eating it. But Chen remembers that the tribe used fire to roast lamb when he first met them. How are they not using fire now? Big Big reveals that they found the fire already burning, and because they couldn't preserve the source, they tend to leave it. Chen is aghast. Fire is a fundamental discovery that helped civilizations develop. But these people don't know the significance of fire, aside from using it to make food delicious. At least not yet. Chen realizes he should teach them how to make fire to strengthen the tribe. He gathers everyone and tells them to observe what he's about to teach. After putting wood shavings and tree fluff into the depression in the log, he starts to vigorously roll a stick in it. Being patient is the key. Soon smoke arises from it, and a small fire emerges. Everyone cheers for their king. Someone even shouts that the god of fire has descended on them. Chen looks at them as they gather around the fire. Just then, his prompt appears. The system has recognized his fire-making skills as a new invention, and he's been awarded 10 points for the technology attribute. Chen is surprised to know he can easily earn points for technology. But he doesn't know what it is used for. When he clicks on it, he finds out that technology points can be used to identify a heritage plaque, and identification is worth 10 points. He remembers that heritage plaques are one of the rewards for his current mission settlement. Interrupting his thoughts is Seeker. The latter informs him that the boar they hunted bore traces of nursing, which indicates that there might be boar cubs nearby, and he is right as he's found them. A prompt appears showing a side quest. Chen must tame the boar cubs, fence them in, and domesticate them. He'll be rewarded with a small supply chest and a basic recipe. Chen looks at the side quest, noting the number 1. He thinks there may be more quests like this in the future. For now, he accepts it. He instructs Big Big and Seeker to find those boar cubs and bring them all safely to their camp. The two agree before setting off. Then Chen prepares to make multiple pigsties. After his men have eaten, he instructs them to collect branches from the trees nearby. As for Stick and the others, they are tasked with making grass ropes and collecting straws. After all materials are prepared, Chen shows them how to make a pigsty. First, he creates pits on the ground, forming a circle. Then he picks up several branches and ties them together to make a frame. Each pole of the frame is inserted into the pits, and they are tied again to secure the shape. The last step is to cover the cage with straw. And there, they have made their first pigsty. Everyone marvels at this new invention. They all admire their king for knowing so much and helping them. But then they all race inside the pigsty, thinking it will be their shelter from now on. Chen explains that it's not for them, but for the cubs that Big Big will retrieve. They will build their own houses, bigger and sturdier than the pigsties in the future. But for now, they will prioritize the cubs. Later, Big Big and Seeker return with all 8 of the cubs. Chen tells them to lead the animals into the pigsty. Stick wonders why they are caring for them instead of eating them right away. Chen explains that they can breed the cubs so they can have food supply for a long time, even without hunting. It's okay if they don't understand now. They'll eventually learn as days go by. With the side quest completed, Chen earns the small package reward and the basic recipe. He also gets another point in the technology attribute for creating the pigsty. When he opens the small package, it contains a bag of salt, and the basic recipe is actually a collection of very simple recipes using salt and immediate ingredients. The prompt reminds him that completing the recipes can unlock special rewards. Well then, Chen takes note of this. As the tribe sleeps around the pigsties, Chen and Seeker stay up to guard them. Chen mentions that Seeker has worked hard, from hunting the boar to guarding everyone for the night. Seeker says he still feels guilty for hunting Chen on the first day. He feels right to endure a little hardship in return. So Chen was right before, but he doesn't hold it against Seeker. In fact, he recognizes his intelligence, so he wants to know if he knows any tribes other than theirs. Seeker mentions the 3 different clans they've encountered so far. The first is the Coconut Grove clan, the closest to them and lives in the eastern forest. The clan has 30 to 40 people, doesn't like conflict, and is good at long journeys. The clan is governed by their formidable queen. The next is the Bay clan, residing in the southern coastal area. They have the same population as the Coconut Grove clan, but they all look terrifying, and they always engage in internal conflict. The third, and the most powerful, is the Giant Stone clan in the mountains to the southwest. They have the largest population. They rarely come down, and only for specific activities. Seeker says their leader has gained divine powers and can kill a tiger with bare hands. Chen considers this information. He assumes the Coconut Grove clan will be the ideal target for tribe assimilation. But he thinks that force won't work on them, and so he needs to create a plan to peacefully conquer them. Just then, Big Big comes at him from behind, offering a massage and an exciting activity. Chen fearfully and politely declines. Big Big makes cute kitty gestures, which makes Chen go rigid with fear. He awkwardly tells her she looks more like a saber-tooth. Not wanting to hurt her because of rejection, Chen grabs Seeker and runs away, saying he has an important task to do. Big Big is left feeling sad and unwanted. It may be impromptu, but Chen does have something important to do. That is, to observe one of the clans mentioned by Seeker earlier, the Bay clan. At the present, they see 2 of them running after some kind of bird. Chen's database updates to include the name of the new animal species, the dodo bird, a docile animal with poor meat quality but with high egg production. Chen thinks that if they manage to assimilate the Bay clan into their tribe, not only their population will increase, but they will also gain valuable resources like those dodo birds. But Seeker warns him that the Bay clan likes conflict, right at the moment when the 2 hunters start fighting over the birds. They are brawny and simple-minded. They can easily overpower Chen's tribe. Chen agrees. He also realizes that their main priority now should be those herds of black bulls. If they manage to subdue those giant minotaurs, they can gain more resources like food and weapons. Chen decides they should head back. They still have a lot of things to do. When they arrive, Stone Bone and the others are very worried about Chen's disappearance. Chen apologizes and assures them that he won't leave them. In fact, he has a lot of instructions for them as part of their preparation for their next hunt. He orders Stone Bone and the men to continue their training with the wooden spears. He also assigns Stick to teach them throwing skills. They only have 1 day to train, so they should make the most of it. On the other hand, he tells Big Big to gather all the women, as their task is to create more spears and new weapons. Later, Big Big approaches Chen with a big flat stone. Chen approves of it, saying it can be used as a whetstone. He gathers the women to show them how to create a stone axe. First, the stone must be rubbed on the whetstone until it creates a sharp edge or point. Then, tie it on a sturdy wooden stick with the grass rope, and there, their first stone axe. The women gush over how competent their king is. The creation of the stone axe has added another point to Chen's technology attribute, but he finds it stingy of the system to give him minimum points when he has created fire for the tribe. He tells the women to follow what he showed them in creating the axes. In just a short time, Big Big has managed to create a double-edged axe that looks similar to his own. A different kind of prompt appears, this time a blue one. It says that Chen has met the 2 conditions to activate a hidden feature of the system. The first condition, transition the tribe from the old Stone Age to the new Stone Age. The second one, help a tribe member reveal their talent. He now has access to talent discovery, where he can see what unique abilities his tribe members have. For Big Big, he is surprised to discover that she's a good tool builder. Chen immediately makes her the leader of the weapon-making group. He instructs the rest of the women to create more spears and stone axes, just like Big Big's. At sundown, the group has created 30 spears and stone axes. They got bruises and calluses, but for their king, they don't mind at all. But when they ask for a little affection, Chen gets easily scared. He decides to check the men's group to see how they're doing. A huge log suddenly flies towards him. He only has time to duck before the log hits the tree behind. He sees that it is a moving object, which indicates that the training must have progressed quickly and effectively. Stick, who is considered a throwing master by the system, approaches him and gives a report. Black Boar, the one with a horn skull helmet, does very well when teamed up with Stone Bone. Green Vine, the quiet, long-haired guy, has good techniques in throwing, but the best ones are Yellowstone and Wolfbone. They have unparalleled teamwork, showing high accuracy each time. Chen is pleased. They are moving quickly with their preparations, but of course they still need to prepare their secret weapon, just to be safe. Stick wonders what secret weapon is his king referring to. Night has fallen, but Chen is still hard at work creating a stone mortar. He recalls Stick's question earlier. What is their secret weapon? The answer is what they will be putting on the tip of their spears. Thanks to Chen's database, he knows that dragon vines can be used as a paralyzing agent. He has ordered his people to gather its grass, reminding them not to touch it with open wounds. He gains an attribute point after finishing the mortar, just as Big Big delivers the spears they created. He instructs her to crush the grass in the mortar and then dip the tip of the spears in the sap. It's better if all the women will help her. As for the men, he orders them to eat and rest, as they need their energy for their next big hunt. Eventually, Big Big and the others finish the task. She shoots a spear towards Chen, which he easily catches. After inspection, he thinks they are ready. His last instructions: the women will stay to guard and protect the children, while the rest will bring the weapons and follow them up the mountain. Everyone cheers. It's time to show those monster bulls what they are capable of. The sun is about to rise, but the moon is still visible in the sky. Stone Bone and the others patiently wait for their signal to attack. He reminds everyone that they can't afford to make mistakes, as their king has taken great risks to make their plan successful. 10 minutes earlier, Chen had gone down to the forest where the herd dwells. He'd taken the task to be the bait so his men could do the attack. He scouts the area to look for the ideal target. He sees a smaller bull drinking by the river. He throws some stones at it. As expected, the bull roars ferociously and starts chasing Chen. On their location, Seeker spots the movement among the bushes. Chen suddenly appears, with 3 bulls on his tail. Chen shouts at his men to target the first bull. Stone Bone leads them, and they successfully shoot not just the first bull but the other 2 as well. Stick then throws the final spear, which immediately brings the bull down, but they are tenacious, continuing to scrape at the rock wall. Chen climbs up, but the rock he holds on breaks. Thankfully, Stone Bone catches him. Stone Bone continues to lead the others in their attacks on the bulls until the animals can't move any longer. The paralyzing agent on the tips of the spear swiftly works its way into the animal's system. Chen realizes that Stone Bone has unlocked his talent, leadership. No wonder he was the previous leader before he arrived. Big Big, who manages the distribution of the spears, asks if Chen is okay. Chen says he's okay, and that she should focus more on helping Stone Bone. Eventually, the bulls slow down. However, the rest of the herd has heard the cries of their companions. They rampage towards the rock wall, intending to avenge their friends. Chen calms his group. Everything is still according to plan. They need to make sure those 3 bulls won't escape. The cows have finally slowed down in their movements. Chen orders everyone to stop throwing their spears. At first, the men are confused about what their king wants. This is no time to be merciful on those cows, but Chen only asks for their inventory. Upon checking, they only have 28 remaining spears, while the herd of bulls still has 20 left. Even though they have more spears, Chen says they can't waste any more of it. In truth, Chen's real plan is to lure out the herd's boss. If they manage to take it down, the rest of the bulls will just scatter away, leaving the area free for their settlement. To do that, he needs to use 1 bull as the bait, but because 2 more followed, they have to spend significantly more spears just to subdue them. They need enough to defeat the leader. Regardless, the plan still works. Seeker announces that the herd's boss has finally arrived. If the bulls they have encountered are already frightening, their leader is much more monstrous and humongous. Just a single roar from it is enough to shake the rock mountain they are on. Then they notice the rest of the animals running straight ahead towards the rock wall. They all ram it at the same time with their hard heads. Cracks appear until a part of the wall crumbles. Everyone scrambles to get out of the way. Unfortunately, Big Big isn't fast enough. She falls among the rocks. Chen and Yellowstone immediately slide down to protect Big Big. Wolfbone and Green Vine follow them. Now they are on the lower ground, surrounded by angry and huffing bulls. Chen assures Big Big that she's safe. Chen considers their situation. He realizes the herd's leader is smart enough to see through his trap, and that's why it only sent the foot soldiers first. Stone Bone wants to go down as well to protect their king, but Chen shouts back that they should stay up there to minimize the casualties. Just as he says it, 2 bulls charge at them. Green Vine goes in front of Chen and throws a spear at one of the bulls. Chen follows this attack with a swing of his axe. Immediately, the bull is defeated. Meanwhile, the other one runs towards Yellowstone. The latter throws his spear, but the bull intuitively swats it away. He then grabs its horns and uses his brute strength to hold the animal down. Wolfbone comes in from the side and hits the bull's eye. No pun intended. Stone Bone sees this and orders others to focus fire on that bull. The fallen animals cry loudly. In response, their leader growls menacingly. Suddenly, the rest of the herd retreat, as if giving way. Chen gets ready. It looks like the big guy has finally decided to join the fun. Rain has started to fall, just as the herd's leader finally makes its appearance. It starts to inhale deeply. Chen doesn't feel good about this. He orders everyone to get out of the way. They do it in the nick of time, just as the monstrous bull lets out a scathing beam-like roar. It punches a hole through the rock wall, then slides upward, almost creating a divide on top. Just what kind of creature is this bull? One roar, and it effectively weakens his team. But this is no time to muse. They have to act fast. Chen orders everyone to take Big Big and run to the north while he takes its attention. The others agree, and they start to move. Chen faces the monster bull. It aims for a headbutt, which he takes directly. Even though Chen is strong enough not to get buried by the attack, the bull's strength is significantly more than his. Once the bull's head moves up, Chen runs towards the hole created earlier. The bull chases him and rams itself into the rock wall. At first, everyone thinks their king is already done for. In their eyes, there's no way anyone can escape that attack, not even their strong king. The monster bull then turns its attention on Yellowstone and others. Yellowstone makes a stand and declares that they'll poke its eye, even in death. To their surprise, a swinging axe comes out from the rock wall, injuring the bull. Their king is still alive. Chen has managed to hide in one of the crevices just before the bull could ram him. But Chen is bleeding in his head and is heavily injured. Regardless, they can't back down now. He gives only one instruction, and that is for Stone Bone to wait for his signal. Chen starts his attack again, joined by the others. Yellowstone jumps up to the monster head, but he hits himself on its horn. Wolfbone throws his spear, which gets blocked by the creature's hand. Green Vine aims for the leg. The bull reaches for him. Just as he grabs Green Vine, Chen comes and kicks the bull in the face, releasing Green Vine and Yellowstone. The bull makes another beam roar. It almost hits Big Big, but Chen hits the bull with his axe. In that attack, he manages to create an open wound on its thick skin. He shouts to Stone Bone and Stick to do it now. Stone Bone orders everyone to aim at the wound. Spears rain on the bull, and one luckily lodges itself into the wound. The monster bull roars in pain. Then it falls to the ground. Everyone shouts for joy as they finally defeat the big boss. However, Chen is not confident. Something feels wrong, especially with the rest of the herd still looking at them. Chen feels a chill behind him. The monster bull is awake, more furious and terrifying than ever. It punches Chen into the rock wall, while it sends the others flying away with its stomp. For the third time, it releases another beam-like roar. Chen is tired, bleeding, and heavily injured. He starts thinking he has been careless in this fight. He sees the bull pull out the spear from its wound. Without warning, it throws the spear at him. He feels paralyzed, as if the weapon has already hit him. Is this how it will end for him? A whirl of movement at the side catches his eye. He gets pushed back, then he hears the spear piercing through the flesh. The next thing he knows, Big Big is on the ground, unconscious. She has taken the spear that was intended for him. All memories of Big Big flood Chen's mind. He has no romantic interest in her, but he truly appreciates her kindness and her unwavering loyalty for him. Something snaps inside of him. Mysterious glowing symbols materialize on his arm holding the axe. Red prompts appear around him, warning him that the system has detected a power overload, but he doesn't care. He makes a big swing of his axe, creating a slashing path that cuts through the ground, including the monster bull. With a huge swing of his axe, Chen cleanly cuts the monster bull in half. Unless it's an immortal super creature, there's no way the bull can come back to life. Chen turns to the rest of the herd. He calmly asks who's next. In response, the bulls scatter away, crying in fear, their red marking turning back to blue. That's when Chen finally lets go. His axe falls to the ground, and he starts coughing blood. Wolf Bone comes to help him. In the distance, he can see Green Vine looking after Big Big, who is still unconscious. His vision starts to blur, and their shouts of "My king" sound distant in his ears. The system warns him that his life is in danger. He retrieves the hemostatic ointment from the system's storage, before succumbing to unconsciousness. When he wakes up, he finds himself lying on the lap of Ayu. He thinks they're inside the pigsty, but Ayu clarifies that this shelter was specifically built for his recovery. She then informs him of the aftermath of the hunt. After the bulls were driven away, the tribe immediately moved to the new location and started to settle. Green Vine was heavily injured, but he recovered quickly. He has been standing guard outside since then. Big Big's wounds were more fatal, but thanks to the king's divine medicine, presumably the hemostatic ointment, the wounds were treated soon. As long as she rests more, she's going to recover. Chen heaves a deep sigh of relief. Thank goodness he didn't lose anyone in the fight. Ayu agrees, saying everyone's injuries have healed over the past 4 days. Chen gets shocked at this. He checks the system. Indeed, only 11 days are left for him to succeed in his mission. While he contemplates, Ayu wonders why their king often stares into space. Chen tries to move, but his right arm hurts like hell. There's no time to waste. He tells her to call Stone Bone. Just tell him he's awake and nothing about his injuries. Ayu obliges. Stone Bone is happy to hear his king again. After receiving his orders, Stone Bone happily walks away to fulfill them. Next, Chen calls Green Vine. He asks the latter to retrieve the bones and the hides of the Black Bull King, making sure the hides are intact. As a reward, he lends in his axe. Green Vine is so happy to receive the divine weapon from the king. He walks away to fulfill his tasks. Lastly, Chen calls Ayu again. He has a very important mission for her. Immediately, Ayu undresses, which scares Chen. That's not what he means by important mission. Once Ayu dresses, Chen becomes serious again. He wants her to stage an act. He finds her the suitable person to negotiate with the Coconut Grove clan. Their goal is to persuade them to join their tribe and follow his commands, but the said clan has more people than them. Will they agree to assimilating to their tribe? Chen answers that they must show their strength to convince them that assimilation is the right choice. Ayu is the perfect person for this role for 2 reasons. First, since the leader of the Coconut Grove clan is a female, Ayu can communicate better with them, and second, only Ayu can know about his true condition. If the word goes out that he, the king of their tribe, is heavily injured, it will tarnish their reputation. This may lead to negatively impacting the assimilation, and ultimately, Chen will fail his mission. Fortunately, Ayu is quick-witted. She easily understands that they're going to intimidate the Coconut Grove clan with a bluff. She's happy to know that the king trusts her with this mission. She assures him that she knows what she will do. Ayu and Seeker walk the path that leads to the eastern forest. The Coconut Grove clan is known for disliking conflicts, but Seeker believes it's best for everyone not to provoke the clan, especially the queen. Ayu nods, understanding the weight of her role. She assures Seeker that he can leave the rest of the negotiations with her. She's dressed in a fur coat and wears a horn tiara, evidently to make her look like a dignified ambassador. Soon they reach the borders of the clan's territory. They hide among the bushes, observing the members of the clan. In the pool beneath the waterfall, women are enjoying their bath. Seeker points to the regal, green-haired lady scrubbing her arms. She's the formidable queen of the Coconut Grove clan. Ayu and Seeker are so mesmerized by her beauty that they don't notice the sentries standing behind them. They get caught and presented to the queen. The sentries introduce them as something foul, which Seeker passionately corrects. They're the ambassadors of their tribe, not just simple people. The queen lets out a soft sound, which dazzles Ayu again. But her daydreams get ruined when the queen orders her soldiers to make her a slave. Seeker is food for fish, and their meat is the clan's dinner. Ayu quickly thinks. She says she expected the queen to be more intuitive, but it looks like she's mistaken. Now the mountain of meat reserved for the queen's clan will go to the Bay clan. At this, the queen's ears perk up. In this era, food is a valuable resource that cannot be simply ignored. Ayu continues to say that the meat is from the herd of black bulls living near the river. At first, the queen thinks the tribe wants to join forces with them to hunt the bulls, but Ayu smirks at her. The land now belongs to them after subduing the herd. Suddenly, there seems to be great pressure between the two women, especially between their chests. Meanwhile, the others overhear Ayu and refuse to believe her. They almost got trampled before, it's just impossible to defeat the herd. But Ayu challenges them, saying that their king has defeated even the herd's big boss. If they don't believe her, they should come and see. It's reasonable for the clan to think this is a trap, but Seeker pipes in to confirm what Ayu said. He also clarifies they're not there to fight, but to deliver their king's invitation. As a final touch, Ayu challenges the queen's pride by asking another person to come instead of her. The queen considers, and she decides to see it for herself. With Ayu and Seeker leading the way, they eventually reach the tribe's settlement. The strong men led by Stone Bone are busy building their house. He also says that the king is waiting by the riverbank. The queen's entourage proceeds there, all while thinking about the meaning of the word house. When they reach the riverbank, they see an impressive structure with large horns on top. The queen's bravado falters after sensing the animalistic intent coming from there. Chen is dressed like a barbarian, with a headdress made of horns and a coat made from the king bull's hide. His right arm is covered in bull leather, giving him the appearance of a formidable leader. But destroying this impression is a thud coming from the nearby shelter. Big, Yellow Stone, and Green Vine, all still injured, are hiding there, as per Chen's instructions. Chen tries to get the queen's attention. He points them to the shed where they can find their share of meat. The entourage looks shocked, as they're looking at a literal mountain of meat. Tensions arise between the soldiers checking if it's real and Wolfbone and Black Boar cutting up the parts. Just then, an axe comes flying between them, cleanly cutting a huge slab of meat. The queen of the Coconut Grove is alarmed at seeing an unfamiliar weapon lodged in the meat. It looks far superior than their ironwood branches and bone knives. Chen tells Wolfbone to use his axe to cut the meat up and stop asking questions. While waiting for the meat partition, Chen promises the queen that they can take the meat with no problem. He keeps his word, a principle he follows. The queen is curious about how they've conquered the herd, but Chen is being coy about it. It depends on future developments whether he'll reveal his secret or not. After a few more minutes, Chen calls it a day. He sends the queen back to their territory. It seems like everything is going smoothly, but his axe throw has caused his wounds to open. Blood starts trickling down on the throne. He quickly hides it. Ayu, noticing her king's discomfort, quickly engages the queen to avoid suspicion. She offers stone axes as gifts, but the prideful queen refuses them, saying they also have powerful weapons they chose not to show. Ayu maintains the relations open and peaceful, inviting them to come back and have more meat if they run out of it. And with that, the queen leads her entourage out of the settlement. A few meters away, she asks about the investigation. 3 sentries jump out of trees to give their report. They confirm that the tribe is building something called a house. In one of the shelters, boar cubs are kept. This amazes the queen, as she has never heard of providing a good dwelling for the boars. The sentries also report about the tribe's mastery of fire. Tribe members were observed to create fire out of thin air and use it to roast their meat. This pisses the queen, as it seems like the tribe is far more advanced and has more resources than her clan. Lastly, they report about the lack of people, and yet they're managing to accomplish these feats. The sentries were not able to go closer, as the trees nearby had been cut down. Going further risks exposing themselves, the queen is quiet for a while. Then she brings her thorned whip out and lashes at the sentries. This unsatisfactory report should never be given to someone as elegant as her. If they do so again, the punishment won't be as simple as whipping. The sentries bow down to thank the queen for not banishing them. Back in the settlement, Chen lets out a sigh of relief. Ayu checks on him and his injury. He says the leather has strong regenerative abilities. His wound should heal soon. When he looks up, he sees a blue prompt above Ayu's head. Her talent is eloquence. This is a rare commodity in diplomacy that can be used to easily turn tides in their favor. He instructs Ayu to let those guys in hiding come out and to continue assisting him on his recovery. He also leaves the cleaning of the blood to her. Ayu is happy to do them all. Before leaving, she tells Chen how cool he looks right now, which makes him blush profusely. Chen meets with Seeker, who has come back from a short mission. As expected, the queen of the Coconut Grove clan has left sentries to observe their tribe, but Seeker assures Chen that the sentries only saw what they wanted them to see and never saw what they intended to hide. Stonebone asks if the Coconut Grove clan will really join them voluntarily. Chen admits it's too early to tell. They've only done the first half of the plan. With that said, they should get ready for the second half. It's been a long day. Chen lies inside his hut to rest for a bit, but his mind is still working over what he can do to finish the mission in time. The biggest part of the mission is to grow the tribe's population. 11 days is just not enough, but he believes that, with careful and proper planning, he can achieve his goals. He decides to check his inventory. In the system map, he can see that they are now occupying a portion of the land. On the other hand, he still has hemostatic ointment that's good for only one use and a small bag of salt. Just then, a prompt appears informing him that his axe has now been upgraded as the Axe of Pangu. When he checks the details, he finds the weapon is now considered legendary. Its attribute is Earth, and its activation condition is Blood Sacrifice. Its hidden skill: after releasing the power to create the world, the weapon will drain the user's stamina to deal damage, with destructive power relative to the user's remaining stamina. Chen remembers that during his fight with the King Bull, his blood had dripped over the axe. Perhaps it was what activated the axe's latent powers. Upon understanding the weapon's new skill, he realizes he should be careful with the timing of using it. He could lose his arm if he's careless. Nevertheless, it surprises him to know that weapons are meant to evolve. He goes back to thinking about his mission. The meat he gave to the Coconut Grove clan should be enough for 2 days. Within that time span, he must do something to set things in motion. With that, he calls Seeker for a new mission. The little guy bows down to his king. Chen tells him to search for the black bulls they drove away after the fight, and to come back and report to him within 2 days. Seeker gets up and sets on his task. It will be a long wait, so Chen decides to create some gifts for his people. 2 days have passed. Chen expects Seeker to have arrived. In the meantime, he has crafted stone spearheads, a bone whistle, and a bullhorn water flask, which all added points to his technology attribute. The spearhead will improve their weapons should they end up in a conflict with the Coconut Grove clan. The bone whistle is his gift to Stonebone, so the latter can easily give his orders, and the flask will be given to Seeker. Ayu enters his hut, excited about some good news. The house has finally been built, but before he can go out to see it, Ayu makes sure to put on his cloak so he'll look cool. They both act like a couple. Perhaps Ayu is Chen's chosen queen. When they come out, Stonebone excitedly presents to him the house built according to Chen's instructions. The house looks sturdy, but its architecture has little left to be desired. Regardless, that's a big accomplishment towards their settlement. Chen gains 10 points for successfully building a wooden house. As of late, his total technology attribute is 27 points. Chen realizes something. He also gained 10 points when he taught the tribe how to create fire. Now that he thinks about it, the tribe has really come a long way since he arrived. From being barbarians with no knowledge of fire at all, to building their houses, the tribe has really undergone evolution. In a way, the system may have put him there to help the tribe accelerate their development. This is a realization that feels very precious in this era. For now, they should go back to building more houses, since they must expect more people to settle with them in a few days. Just then, Seeker finally arrives. He's found where the rest of the horde is. That's good news. He gathers Seeker and Stonebone to discuss the next half of their plan. After hearing it, Stone Bone is a bit skeptical if it will work, but Seeker assures him that he can handle the task. Pleased, Chen gives them their gifts as appreciation for their contribution. He reminds them that as soon as they see his signal, they must act accordingly. It's time to execute the most important part of the plan. Chen is worried about using the injured people to do other tasks, but he has no choice since their manpower is already stretched thin. He instructs Ayu to tell Big Big and Yellowstone to create a bonfire in front of the wooden house, but they shouldn't light it yet. It's all part of his preparation to lure the big fish. Later, one of the women sees the Coconut Grove clan marching towards their settlement. She immediately runs to her king to inform him about this development. Currently, Ayu is cleaning Chen's wounds. It has healed, but he should take it easy for a few more days. Chen really appreciates Ayu's caring nature. It's been a long time since someone took care of him. With the queen of the Coconut Grove clan joining his tribe, it would be bliss to be taken care of by these two lovely ladies. They receive word about their guest's arrival. It's to work. Ayu welcomes them back, offering praise for the queen. She shows them the newly built wooden house where the king is expecting her. The queen is amazed. The little thatch they saw before is now this big. How did they do it? The queen changes her stance. She implies that the king may be afraid to come out and see her. She brought most of her clan to take more meat, and for them to get to know their neighbors. Ayu gracefully replies that the meat intended for them has already been prepared. If they can't take it all, they are very welcome to stay and eat. The queen tries to poach Ayu into her ranks, but the latter refuses, saying she's already conquered by her king. With that, she gestures to the queen to enter the house. Chen has been waiting for her. He can already see that she's impressed with the spacious interior. He says this is just temporary. They plan to build a bigger one, which they will call a palace. Then the rest of the tribe can live here. Without warning, the queen brings out her thorned whip and wraps it around Chen. Then she secures him with her foot on his shoulder. She seduces him, saying no one understands men more than her. She has a lot of ways to make him willingly offer these things to her. In her mind, this intimidation should be enough. In truth, Chen is so rightfully stimulated by the queen's advances. But Chen maintains his straight face, saying he has a backup plan for whatever the queen intends to do. At that point, Ayu enters to tell them they can start the feast. The queen looks pissed about being disturbed, and Chen looks like he's about to give up self-control. Ayu remains unfazed. Gathering his wits, Chen decides it's time for the feast. He gets up to join his tribe. The queen is perplexed about Chen's indifference, as if he's never affected by her coercion. She starts to think differently of him. The bonfire is lit, and the food is distributed. Chen also offers his bag of salt to enhance the meat's flavor. Everyone seems to be having a good time, including the queen. Meanwhile, in another location, Stone Bone and the others patiently wait for the king's signal while they watch the small herd of black bulls. They are still unsure about what they're supposed to do, but they'll follow the king's order. Once they see the smoke from their settlement, they begin provoking the animals. The creatures start running, and Stone Bone shouts at Seeker that they are heading his way. Seeker lets the bulls run past him until he spots the new leader. He jumps onto its back and stabs it, claiming it as his. That's it for today's recap. Give us a like and subscribe for more videos. See you next time.